We're now recording. Feel free.
Welcome back to Lepodcast episode 27. As always, you're here with Hoop, Saney, and the infamous ZZ Huncho. So the biggest headline that's popped up since we've last spoke has nothing to do with the NBA, but rather the son of a legend who is now a legend himself. Marcus Jordan is confirmed to be dating Scottie Pippins' ex-wife, Larsa. This is Michael Jordan's son. The only thing I know about him is that he owns the shop Trophy Room, which is way overpriced basketball shoes. But what do you even say about this guy? The dog levels.
That is different is the word to use. I'm not gonna give him a W or an L because I'm so conflicted. As a man,
That is true.
as a man, it's a pretty big W or a pretty big L. I mean, not gonna lie. But like, it's jokes at the same time, which is why I love it. I guess Marcus wasn't always close with Scottie. I don't know, like the timeline. Maybe he was born or was like super young while him and Jordan were playing together, so like he doesn't really care. I don't know what Jordan thinks of it. Does Jordan even spend time with his kids like that for him to be able to say what they can and can't do? I don't know. I don't know the family. I don't know the root of all this. But clearly they're not close if Marcus is out here, pulling that ting. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
MJ's too busy watching the Charlotte Hornets fail.
Bruh, all I'm gonna say is my man Marcus, bruh. When I read that, I literally was like, no way. Larsa is the one I feel like, or however you say her freaking name, she's the one I feel like we got to be talking about because you went from dating Scottie Pippen and watching Michael Jordan's sons grow up to now dating Michael Jordan's what is it, his junior, I guess? I don't know what Marcus is. They both suck as basketball players, apparently. So I feel like the only way for them to keep the Jordan name relevant, besides their father himself, besides Black Jesus himself, is to go after Scottie Pippen's former wife. And I can only assume that Marcus Jordan specifically listens to a lot of Future. I can also assume that Scottie is very upset and he might be bringing out a sequel to his book. He already slandered Michael Jordan a lot in that book that dropped. What was it, last summer? So MJ was like, "All right, bet. I take that personal. Call up Marcus for the first time in 7 years and be like, hey, who you date?" And he's probably gonna be like, "No one, because I'm a bust." And then MJ's like, "I got a girl for you. Let me call Larsa real quick." And then he puts Larsa onto his son. That's crazy. That's
He
genuinely
took it
crazy.
that personal.
He
That
took it
it was
that
it was
personal.
all MJ's doing. The Michael MJ.
Somewhere Michael Jordan is sitting with his hands like ZZ Huncho and with a cat in his lap, just stroking that thing. Pause. Just stroking that thing and just looking at all the tabloids and laughing with a cigar in his mouth. I can only assume. I said pause. So so yeah. That's all I got though.
Have you guys ever been to a trophy room with the one I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
It's the most mid store ever, so I'm glad Marcus is on to bigger and better things. Everything in there is like $500. I went in there, I was on vacation somewhere and I saw one and it was like, oh, run by Michael Jordan's son. Awful shop. But I'm glad he's in the media for something since his basketball career never panned out. But
Never even started.
we have a show to run, and getting into today's show, we have two segments. One's mock GM, the other is this or that. So it might be quick, but it's also going to be great discussion. There's a bunch of struggling NBA teams, a bunch of teams that are in positions that they didn't think they'd be in. So I want to run around or ask around the room, if you guys were the GM of this franchise, what would your next steps be to get them back on track? Starting off with some obvious ones. Let's do the Brooklyn Nets. Saney, what would you do?
To be fair, I think the Nets are already back on track ever since firing Steve Nash. I believe they're 4-1 since then, and their one loss came from the Lakers last night. So they went on a winning streak right after they fired Steve Nash. I think that was 110% the direction that they should have went in. And if I was the GM, if you asked me this question 2 weeks ago, that's the first thing I would have told you. I think at this point, it's just about sticking together. They clearly know how to win basketball games. I really like the rise of their role players, Royce O'Neal, Nick Claxton. Kevin Durant is going to be Kevin Durant. when Kyrie comes back, I hate how people are saying the Nets are 4-1 without Kyrie. No. They're 4-1 without Steve Nash. Let's relax on that. And Seth Curry just came back. He dropped 22 in his first game back. I believe he didn't play against the Lakers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but to have like pivotal guys like that come back, and then once Kyrie comes back, I feel like they'll take a whole another level of being back to, a dominant basketball team. As the GM, I'm kind of just riding this out now because it's like, you know what? We took care of the one or a huge issue. I'm not going to say the one, obviously, a huge issue in Steve Nash. And the replacement so far has been doing wonders. They've been winning games against teams that they should be winning against. And at this point, it's just let's see what happens. Let's see if this is just a streaky run or if it's truly what we needed to do.
I agree. I think that for Brooklyn,
Huncho,
there isn't anything else they could possibly do as a team. What'd you say?
I
Am
was
I good
saying
now?
you're cutting out, but you're good now.
Okay. All right. Cool. So for me, the Brooklyn Nets can't do any more damage than they've already done. I want to say to the reputation of the franchise itself, because we've seen Brooklyn try and buy into a championship before with that stupid lineup of Joe Johnson and Darren Williams and Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett and all of that. So they've tried to do this before. This time they gave us the remix with Katie and Kyrie and James Harden for a point, and then Ben Simmons now, and with Steve Nash. Like the Brooklyn Nets, they're weird. They're frustrating to watch sometimes, or to be able to. Sometimes it's hard to comprehend a lot, and then they do something completely different. I think that with Steve Nash being fired, that was a great move because Steve Nash was nothing more than a cone of a coach that just let players walk either right past him or over him. They brought in my man Jacques, and he's been doing a pretty good job. Like Saney said, I hate people that are like, "Oh, they're winning now without Kyrie." That's not the case whatsoever. You implement Kyrie into those wins, they probably win by more. Kyrie isn't an issue for this team at all on the court whatsoever. He's still Kyrie Irving. Like he said, bringing against Seth Curry coming back from his injury and all of that. Royce O'Neal has been a great addition. I didn't even think he was going to be this good of an addition for the Brooklyn Nets, but they picked him up, and that was a great pickup. Nick Claxton seems to be still kind of a little inefficient in terms of when he's making a big impact on wins, on games specifically, or if he's kind of being a little shallow. And Ben Simmons, geez Louise, something's got to happen with Ben Simmons. I don't know what it is. I need y'all's help with this one. I don't know if they can't trade him again, right? I just don't think that's a. I don't know if it's trade.
No,
I don't know what he is on the trade.
He's more valuable on the team even at this
Right.
horrible form. I think you just got to be strict. I think with Kyrie coming back, I do think he's a big defensive liability. And while Nash being gone and the energy in the room being hyped up, like that's definitely part of them having a better defense. But Kyrie's also a liability. I think you got to be really strict on putting players in their place and making it like a top-down organization as opposed to KD and Kyrie running everything, because we know that doesn't work. They put in a new coach, it's starting to work. Like they're making the decisions now, so you got to trust the front office, even if they're dumb at times for letting them bring in James Harden and all that stuff. So I think it's more of a force thing and a change in the outlook of the team as opposed to like making a move. I think it's got to be like a change in demeanor, if that makes sense. We have nothing else. We can move on to our next team. We'll do the Lakers later. Let's do the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh my
God. A lot
God.
of people said, I mean, we already saw it coming. We already talked about that last episode, but people had them as a top seed. What do they got to do?
They got to get rid of D'Lo, man. Him and Ant don't work in the backcourt. I think D'Lo restricts Ant from truly tapping into his potential because he takes away from Ant having the ball in his hands. Now, I don't watch full Minnesota Timberwolves games. The only 2 full games I've watched were when they played the Thunder, but at many points, and even on the internet, I'll see clips surfacing of Ant just not being involved in the play at all. He sits there with his arms on his hips, like hands on his hips. Doesn't even care. D'Lo, on the other hand, I think he's had one good game this season. He dropped 30 the other night, but other than that, he's been terrible efficiency-wise. Not the point guard that we used to know D'Angelo Russell to be, obviously. I still think he has a little bit of trade value where you could get rid of him and still get something in return right now. And I think that's the move to make because at this point, it doesn't really matter what you're getting in return for D'Angelo Russell because the way I see it, you're just hindering Anthony Edwards' potential. I don't think it's more so the addition of Rudy Gobert. I think it's more so the pairing of D'Angelo Russell. So, yeah, D'Lo got to go.
I agree with D'Lo having to go because Hoop talked about this prior to the season starting, and it was kind of like I think Sandy also touched on it too. But there was a thought of what Sandy just said: D'Lo taking away Anthony Edwards' minutes, taking away his not his minutes, but his touches, to the point where Anthony Edwards is sitting there looking like not a liability, but just there, like just not doing anything. And I think for the betterment of this team, being that Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns are their 1-2 punch, it seems that they're building around. Take D'Angelo Russell away. He still definitely has some trade value somewhere. But like he said, he's not the same D'Lo that we once knew. I thought that D'Lo going to Minnesota when he first got there was a great look because of how young they were. But at the same time, when your second best player is also one of your youngest, and he's playing the position of shooting guard, and he's gonna need the ball in his hands with today's the way today's game is. He's gonna need the ball in his hand more. It's that simple. I still do not believe in the Rudy Gobert trade, but maybe if D'Angelo Russell leaves, then maybe I'll see something a little bit different. But as of right now, Rudy Gobert looks more in the way than uh, taco fall at a McDonald's. But it's just like I need to see something. Something's got to happen. Right now, Minnesota's pretty mid to me. They haven't overachieved at all in my book. They haven't underachieved really either. They're just like meh. And they have been pretty meh for the past like few seasons. So the only way I see this team going up, at least making it into the playoffs, is maybe a D'Lo trade and getting something back from him. I don't know what you would get back for him, but whatever you can get, maybe some valuable bench pieces, some more valuable bench pieces, maybe another 3-and-D guy. I don't know, but something. Yeah, D'Lo's got to be the one right now because Rudy just got there. So yeah.
If I'm the Timberwolves, I just want to say I saw a YouTube video on D'Lo's struggles, and when the Timberwolves play a lineup of Jordan McLaughlin, Jalen Noel, Anthony Edwards, Torian Prince, and Naz Reid, they have like league highs in net rating, which is the difference between the offensive and defensive rating. Like I think top 3 in the league, and it's close to the bottom when they play with D'Lo, Ant, Cat, Gobert, and whoever McDaniels. So I think McLaughlin needs the starting job. D'Lo needs to go, and I don't know who they'd get as a backup. I think you just flip him for a technically worse point guard, but it's a better fit because D'Lo's awful right now. I'd get like a Derrick Rose. I don't want Derrick Rose in Timberwolves. I mean, unless they're going to contend right now, but they need a steady hand. I really like McLaughlin. I don't know if he's an NBA starter, but he's a really nice backup. But they just need someone who's going to be a primary ball handler, or have capabilities to be a primary ball handler, but mainly a distributor as opposed to D'Lo the scorer. So Ant could get those playmaking duties and actually expand his game. There is no reason for Ant to be scoring 10 points in a basketball game. I think that's what he had the other night when D'Lo had 30, Cat had like 28. There's no reason for him to be standing around, or else you're just not maximizing the team. So I think they need to get just someone to play the point that is capable, but doesn't need touches like that. So I agree. Trade D'Lo.
Next team. Next team.
Let's do the Lakers. Sandy, start with you.
Perfect.
Anthony Davis, go away from Los Angeles. Get traded. Now, the Anthony Davis was playing great the other day. I'm not hating on Anthony Davis as a player. I'm hating on Anthony Davis in a yellow jersey. I think there's too many instances where I can think of where Anthony Davis just didn't come through. Russell Westbrook is playing great off the bench. He's going to be 6th man of the year. I called it the second they put him off the bench. You guys called me out for it, and now look at the odds. He's number 1 in the race. Westbrook is great off the bench. It's exactly what they need off the bench, especially because their second line never does anything. I think you get rid of Anthony Davis and bring in a bunch of guys that can, not necessarily a second co-star beside LeBron James maybe, but like a bunch of like really, really good players to have on a basketball team. Just get rid of him. It's not working. Trade him while he still has value. Maybe you can even get some picks for the next few seasons because, you know, your next first-round pick is after 2025. The Pelicans own everything you have up until 2025. So try and get some draft compensation back because whatever you're doing right now isn't going to work. The league is too strong for you to contend unless you make some insane blockbuster fleece that we've never seen thus far in NBA history. I think it's genuinely like the only way out of this hole is to get rid of their not even young starting. I don't even know how old Anthony Davis is, but I'm sure you can get something for him. Just try and save yourself at this point. It's not going to work. Save yourself a few bucks on luxury tax because you're overpaying a bunch of guys. And that's the only thing I can think of.
See, here's my thing. When trying to analyze the Lakers, I've realized that over the course of the last season, I've said this in a couple TikToks. Uh, who to blame is always the thing with Laker Nation and the media and NBA fans. And what I mean by who to blame is who's to blame for the Lakers' struggles. They're currently sit at 3-10, right? So putting Russ off the bench, which is something that I think all three of us have called before the season started, was bringing Russ off the bench, even last season. And it's working numbers. Russ has so much more free roam and free will to do whatever he wants, to lead the offense, to play Russell Westbrook style of basketball. So in terms of who to trade, I don't think you should trade Russ at this point because I think if you do trade Anthony Davis, he still has a lot of trade value. And the reason that I would trade Anthony Davis is specifically because of his injury history. That's it. His injury history is so questionable and has been pretty much the killer for the Lakers, especially since when they got knocked out of the first round by the Suns, right? It was, Anthony Davis didn't play. And then the next year, Anthony Davis played like 30 games. And now we're here and we have games like the other night against Brooklyn where Anthony Davis goes stupid, partially because Brooklyn doesn't have a freaking center, but whatever. He goes stupid. And we're sitting here like, well, they're still 3-10. Somebody's got to get moved. You can't move Darvin Ham. You already let Vogel go because you remember when they blamed Vogel for their struggles? No, it wasn't Vogel. It was not Vogel. It was what Vogel had to freaking coach. Nothing. An abomination of a team that was once a championship team in 2020. And the way that team was constructed looks like Jeannie Buss actually like had some brain cells to work with. But I've noticed another thing too. I watched a YouTube video yesterday and it was on LeBron James led teams and how LeBron and the player empowerment that he has and the influence that he has on GMs plays a massive part in a lot of for his team's success or failures. So when we date back to Cleveland 2018, for example, when he had Rose and D Wade and all of them, a freaking class reunion. When he had that, I was literally sitting there at the age of like 16, 17, wondering how the hell can you do this? That failed. And then you got guys like the Cleveland's former GM, who was there with LeBron since he got there. That dude was losing hair by the time he left Cleveland. And it was because of when you have LeBron James, when you have LeGoat James, you have to, you have to listen to what he offers up, right? That's what it is. He said, I want Russ. Fine. Jeannie and Rob Pelinka, yeah, we'll go get Russ. Now I think Jeannie and Rob are kind of tired of LeBron, kind of inputting what he wants on a team. But he's also in year 20, and this is probably like throughout the worst 13 stretches we've seen LeBron James play in his career, safe to say, right? So I don't think LeBron has that same what's the word? Like that same I can't think of the word, but he doesn't have that same willpower to be able to be like, yeah, go make this move. I think Jeannie and Rob are kind of just like, hey, you know what? We're gonna make moves that to where we see fit. So Anthony Davis might be that one guy off the table, and where would he go? I don't know. But the Lakers need a 3-point shooting for sure. Bring in trade AD. Bring in some 3-and-D guys. Bring in some veterans. Get you a Rondo again. And they got Schroeder. They got Dennis coming back, so he's going to be taking the starting role. Patrick Beverley. If Dennis comes back, Patrick Beverley better be a defensive menace. And I mean that by he better shoot at least 4 shots a game and maybe have 1.8 steals. Like that's his role. What Hoop said with Brooklyn, right? Top to bottom, you need to give guys roles. The Lakers need to establish guys' roles. You got Lonnie Walker out here one night wanting to dunk on everybody and the other night wanting to shoot threes. Anthony Davis, prime example. One night going out there getting 35 and 18. The next night he's shooting 35 shots and made 18 of them. It's like, what are you doing? So yeah, the Lakers just are still dysfunctional. By the way, they still got Scottie Pippins Jr. Shout out to him. Sorry about your dad, but whatever. They got a lot of guys. They got a lot of young guys. Matt Ryan. Like the Lakers have guys where it's like, this random guy on this random night can send us to double overtime or send us to overtime. And it's just like, But Anthony Davis is the guy that I think right now is the biggest dude that's on the table. And I don't think Russ is anymore because of how he's been doing off the bench. What can you specifically do with Anthony Davis to make him play better? He's already starting. He's healthy. Like, what do you do besides tell him, hey, play like a big this game? They're probably gonna get sick and tired of that. Ship him, build the team again, and like you said, some fleece trade. You're gonna need something like that, something that's gonna break the internet. That's all I'm saying from that for the Lakers.
Yeah, I agree. I think on top of AD, they should just get rid of everyone. I know that's tougher than it sounds, but I saw another video today comparing Luka to LeBron in that when a player is that good that early in their career, it's difficult to build around them because you know they're going to be, max from the jump. And to get them what they want, it requires you to move around a lot of things, which oftentimes sacrifices young players. So LeBron's at a point where he's been on, different so-called super teams where they'll bring in superstars and older role players to help him win now. But he's at a point in his career where I don't want to call it a farewell tour, but it's definitely the very back end. And the Lakers have no young talent with upside. They have young players, no young talent with serious upside. Who's Matt Ryan's not going to do anything aside from shoot a couple threes. Wenyen Gabriel, like he's nice. He's not going to become anything. So I think it's just the LeBron curse that when he gets talent like Russ and AD, he's not going to have young talent with it. And obviously, this was a lot of his fault because I don't think Russ should have been in LA in the first place. But that's what you got to live with. And I think the Lakers should not want to live with it anymore. So I think they ship him. I don't know who would take him because I'll be completely honest. If I'm a GM, I don't know if I want LeBron James on my team. Unless I am like maybe the Phoenix Suns or the Portland Trailblazers where you have a secondary star and all you need is like a centerpiece, and you kind of hope that LeBron's going to get it back for that season, which, I mean, I think you would. Those are the only kind of teams that I would want him for. And even then, your championship window is so short because he's getting so old. I don't know what destination would want to have him, but if you could ship him, I'd do that and just try to mass rebuild this team because rebuilding teams right now are getting paid. Like they're getting paid off for all their work. The Rockets have a nice young core. Look at the Thunder right now, and they tanked for years. I think a part of it too is the attitude of LeBron. And I know it's tough to play with what he's playing with, but I just imagine the situation. If you put Shea instead of LeBron, I don't see them being 3-10. I don't see that. And I know we're going to get into a Shea debate like after this, but yeah, I just don't think LeBron's the same.
See, here's my thing too, and adding on top of that, where you're saying LeBron isn't the same. What I've noticed over the course, just since LeBron's been in LA, 2020 they win the championship, right? And then 2021 hits, the Suns go stupid. And I was one of those creators that was like, I can see the Suns beating the Lakers in a 7-game series, even if they had AD healthy, even with LeBron. Like I feel like we're past the days of people being like, okay, if you got Braun, you're good. Like Shannon Sharp isn't even saying that anymore for good reason because there is no like when LeBron changed his number back to 6, people were like, oh, Miami LeBron. Shut up. You knew for a fact that this man is 40,000 years old. LeBron is not carrying teams through the Eastern Conference anymore, especially not through this Eastern Conference, not through the Western Conference either. He wouldn't even done that even if he was in the Western Conference back then because the Western Conference has been tough for 15 years.
Nah.
So it's
Prime
just like,
LeBron is going through the East. This East. Yes, Prime LeBron can
Prime
easily
LeBron's going through.
carry through
Prime
this
LeBron's
East.
going through
100%.
this East.
100%.
You're taking Prime LeBron against Giannis in a 7-game series.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that
Dude,
Yes.
The Celtics.
Yes.
Who does he have on his team?
The Celtics too. He doesn't have anyone. Like
Don't care.
that
Prime
logic
Prime
has failed
LeBron
him.
James, 2018, Prime LeBron James. The only reason you think that conference was easy is because he made it look easy. I don't think you're understanding how good of a player LeBron was. LeBron dominates the Eastern Conference in any era he is in. I don't care what year it is. Any year you pull up, if you give me Prime LeBron James, he is dominating that Eastern Conference. Let's not bring this up. Come on.
Did you just say any era?
Any
Because
era.
don't even get me started right there.
Except for Jordan. Except for Jordan.
Oh, okay,
Except for
cool.
Jordan.
Anyway, moving
But if you
forward,
give LeBron a
when
good team,
looking-
he still beats. I'm talking about LeBron out on his own. The only team, the Bulls. Okay, sure, I'll take the Jordan Bulls beating whatever Eastern Conference team LeBron's on. But LeBron James prime runs through any Eastern Conference. Any.
It's
So,
just such
can we
a different
compare-
game. No, hold up.
It
It's such a
is.
different game from 10 years ago. It's such a different game.
Like, why are y'all acting like
2018
that's
was
delusion
4
talking.
years
That's
ago.
delusion talking.
2018 was 4 years ago.
2018,
No, it's
Jason Tatum
so
was 19.
different. It's so
Jason Tatum was
different.
19.
And I love LeBron.
I still think, and the
Jason
thing is,
Tatum-
you guys are forgetting, it's not just gonna be LeBron James versus a
So
whole
by
team. Like,
by
it's an
running through, are you saying just
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 game series just clean?
He's
sweep?
not
No,
doing
like he's
that.
dominating
He's
the
not
East.
doing-
He's dominating the East. If it's a 7-game
He's
series,
not.
he's winning.
I
He's
don't-
dominating it.
I just
He's
don't-
dominating it if you
whatever.
give LeBron like something.
He's giving
We're
you
talking
no
about this-
reason. He has time and time again proved that there is no reason to doubt that man in his prime. I can't say LeBron will lose because he has given me no reason to prove he will. Bro, you can't name one
Okay,
year
Nah,
since
that's
2011.
the issue is Giannis is the East guy
It's the best
now,
player in the
and
world
he
right now.
never seen him. Like that's
That's the point.
only if you
I'm
want to
sorry.
say over
I
a
don't know.
5-year stretch that LeBron gets to the finals 3 times, I'll say absolutely. But 5 out of
Right.
5 is tough in this East. That is
This
tough.
Eastern Conference is
I'm
nothing
just
like
saying, if
2018.
it's a prime LeBron James against any team in the East, I'm taking the prime LeBron. He's giving
How?
me no reason to
How?
prove that
The
he won.
ne-
That's
the
not a
next
crazy
year-
thing to say. That's not a crazy
It's
thing
not
to
a crazy
say.
thing
No,
to
that's
say.
not a crazy
It's not
thing
a
to
crazy
say, but
thing
he
to
hasn't
say. It's
seen
not.
this other stuff.
Sure,
that's new
100%.
now.
That's-
Sure,
that's what
100%.
it
You
is.
know what? You're right, 100%. But I haven't seen Giannis go to the finals every year for 9, 10 straight years. I've seen LeBron do that. Giannis has given me no reason no indication on why he would be prime LeBron in a series. LeBron has given me every indication in the world on why he would run through a conference. Every indication in the world. That's why if you were to put a gun to my head right now and ask me prime LeBron James or whatever team in the East, I have to choose LeBron James because the numbers back LeBron James, the records back LeBron James. And don't give me that face. What did I say that was wrong?
If I had a gun to my head and I had to pick whether it's LeBron's team or Giannis's team, I'm taking LeBron. But over 5 or 6 years, I think Giannis can scrape 1 or 2.
Sure.
Because
That's what I'm saying.
the team defense, that kind of stuff. If I'm saying one of one, like I'm taking LeBron. Obviously, my money's on LeBron
Right.
any year. I
Between the
just
two
think
of those two,
It's gonna
If
be
you-
a
if you
harder
give me-
But to
run.
me,
If you give
100%, I see your point where it's like, oh, over 5 years, I see Giannis scraping one, sure. But I saw LeBron do, bro, what was his streak? 9, 10 years? I can't disregard that. I can't.
9 to 10 years, half those years running through the Barneys
No.
with
He
Kyle
played
Lowry
great.
and DeMar DeRozan.
Okay, but
Like-
those
like,
teams,
here's the
regular
thing, here's
season
the thing.
records, they
What
were
we
number
look
1
at-
seeds. What do you mean? They're still good teams. LeBron
Okay.
just made them look trash. LeBron
Sandy,
made them
Sandy.
look trash. They were not
Sandy,
trash as a
Sandy,
team.
Sandy.
Nah, but
LeBron
you're
made them look trash.
comparing,
That
you're
Raptors
comparing
team-
DeMar
that
and Kyle Lowry to
Like,
Tatum
bro.
and Brown.
Yeah, but
Like,
I'm
that's
comparing.
tough.
But I'm comparing LeBron sweeping DeMar and Kyle
Right,
Lowry
right.
to playing a 7-game series against Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, okay,
That's the
okay.
difference.
Okay,
That's
okay,
the
okay.
difference.
And what,
So here-
since
I'm
it's a
gonna say this.
7-game series, I think
This
it's
is-
a tougher ask to do. Because he's
I
not
think
going to
it's-
sweep.
I think it's a tougher. No, I'm not saying. I never said sweep. I said he would run through the.
No,
East.
I know you said that, but since
mean,
it's going to be a
run
tougher series,
through.
I think it's easier to lose a tougher series. So every once in a while, every 3 or so years, he could have a Eastern Conference Finals exit.
Sure.
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
saying gun to my head, LeBron has given
Yes,
me every
yes.
reason to say that I
Yes.
have
Gun
to
to
choose
my
LeBron.
head.
That's what I'm.
Gun to my
point is.
head.
Because you guys are
Gun to
saying
my head.
hypothetically they could 100%. Any year, any team can win. It's the NBA.
Mhm.
But the chances say LeBron James. The numbers say
I'll say
LeBron
this.
James.
I'll say
That's
this.
my point.
I'll say this. Gun to my head. If you were to tell me that we have 2 teams, and on these teams is 2018 Braun and some scrubs, and whatever year of Giannis and some scrubs, I'm taking 2018 Braun and them scrubs. I'm just saying if you put 2018 Braun against like the Milwaukee Bucks defending champions of the Milwaukee Bucks champions of 2021, I'm taking the Bucks because Kevin Durant couldn't even beat them, and he played 2 straight games fully.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin
Durant. First of all, Kevin Durant
crazy.
lost
28.
on an inch off his foot, and you're comparing that to 2018
Right.
LeBron James. Think about that.
I'm saying,
And Kevin Durant
I'm
had
saying
nobody
this,
on his
I'm
team
saying
either
this.
because Kyrie was injured and James
Kevin
Harden was
Durant's
playing on an
Game
injured
7
hamstring.
performance. Kevin Durant's Game 7 performance is all-time. Is an all-time Game 7
2018
performance.
LeBron is the top
I'm saying,
3 player
I'm
ever.
saying,
Yeah.
you put
No, top 1
2018
player
Braun.
No, I'd put the 2013 Heat Braun up there.
I'm putting
He
that-
shoots
yeah,
40
yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
you know what? Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
no.
yeah.
You know what, Z? I'll tell you this right now. If you put 2018 LeBron James instead of that Kevin Durant that year, it doesn't even go to Game 7. They win in 6 games. The
The team would fit him too.
The team with the Brooklyn Nets win. The Brooklyn Nets don't even take
Okay,
the Bucks to 6
yeah,
games,
yeah, okay,
7
okay, I
games.
can
They
see that.
win before the 7th game. They win by 6. I think they win in 6 because it was the Nets were up 3-2, and they lost because they couldn't pull through. You think LeBron James
Well,
up 3-2? He's not gonna pull through, bro.
So we're taking all of the things into account. Like LeBron would lose Kyrie again. He
Yeah,
would have half
yeah,
of James
yes,
Harden.
It's a crazy hypothetical because there's
But
so much different
sure.
fit
Like
and
come
whatnot
on now.
to it.
Like we're just like, yeah,
I
sure.
would
Sure, he's gonna do it.
still, because you know what the
Hey,
Brooklyn
I'm
Nets
not mad
offense
at
was?
you. I'm not mad at
Give
you.
Kevin Durant the ball and hope it works out every play
I
because they
just-
didn't have anything
yeah.
else, right? Correct? Imagine you put 2018 LeBron. Bro, 2018 LeBron dropped a damn near 50-point triple-double in Game 1 of the NBA Finals against the greatest team of all time.
And then got swept. So
Yeah, why though? Why did you get
He's
like
a
look
Warriors
at the look at
fan.
the
No,
yeah
he's a
like bro like
Warriors
look at the
fan.
situation, like you can't even lie that
crazy.
they should have taken Game 1 first of all.
They
JR's
should have
like,
taken Game
that
1.
was a
They should have
different
taken
level
Game 1.
of like I play with scrubs. That team was
Right,
genuinely
right.
a different level of I play. Your second best player was Jordan Clarkson, and it wasn't the Jordan Clarkson on Utah. It wasn't the Jordan Clarkson. Kevin Love wasn't even your second best player. Bro, you are starting J.R. Smith at the tail end of his career. That's where LeBron James was in 2018. He had to start J.R. Smith at the tail end of J.R. Smith's career, and he still made it to the finals. That's all I'm going to say. Let's move on because we don't got time to go into this like crazy. But that, like, I'm just saying, like, it's not crazy to think that LeBron James would still dominate the East if he was playing his prime in this era. That's all I'm going to say.
I got you.
We definitely gotta circle back to another LeBron debate in a next episode because that was already starting to get really good.
That was good. No, that was good.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a this or that segment. We've done it with John Stockton before. It's made a great clip, so we want to do it again. Who is the better basketball player right now? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or this player? SGA or Zach LaVine?
Shai.
SGA.
Jaylen Brown.
That's a tough one because Jaylen Brown, I feel like the fact that he plays beside Jason Tatum, he doesn't look as good in the box score. But if you actually watch Celtics games, you'll know it's Jaylen Brown. Like, he dominates. I'll give it to Jaylen Brown.
I'll give it to JB strictly because of the defense.
Shai's a good
No,
defender.
Shai is
whoa.
Shai averages like over like 1.8 blocks a game and like 2 point something steals.
Wait, so Sadie, why would you take Jaylen Brown?
Why would you not take SGA?
I think it's harder to take LaVine over Shai. I think
Really?
I'd take Shai over Jaylen Brown. I think it's finals bias.
I think it's the fact that like
Jaylen Brown can't dribble.
What?
No, I'm being straight up.
Okay.
And you know
Okay,
how
I'm taking SGA.
You know what? I am kind of. I'm looking at it.
Right.
I'm looking at it from a team's perspective because the Celtics win, and I guess I would actually, honestly, I would take Shai. I just look at the fact that the Celtics are 11-3, and Jaylen Brown is a part of the best duo in the NBA. But that also is a majority, like a big part of that plays with Jason Tatum as well, and the Celtics as a team. So I guess I'm giving Jaylen Brown the benefit of his team rather than the benefit of him as a player.
When
so I'm
Saney said
Shai.
that.
I'm gonna say Shai.
When Saney said
I'll
that
change
he
my
was
answer.
looking at it from a perspective of Jaylen Brown being alongside Jason, that was my thing. Because I've told y'all, if Jaylen Brown's on his own team, I think he's gonna cook. He's gonna be just as up there in the numbers as Jason Tatum. But you're right.
I don't think
he can't dribble. He can't dribble. You're right. He can't dribble.
It's hard to be a primary option when you can't dribble. I think he would be a low tier number one. Like I don't want to say Keldon Johnson low, but not much higher. Like I'm being first off, you're underrating Keldon Johnson.
It's a hot take though. I'm
You're
not underrating
underrating
Keldon Johnson.
Johnson.
Keldon Johnson's on my fantasy team. I keep up with him every day. I have to.
But I'm saying Jaylen Brown when you're a first option as more of a dribble drive to the bucket scorer and spot up shooter. He's not operating all that much. It's a second option type of player. Yeah. I don't think he'd do all that well.
Yeah, no, I'll take Shai.
I think the Celtics are more of a team driven organization as opposed to the duo. I think I take Shai over Jaylen Brown. Next up, Devin Booker.
I'm taking D Book.
Shai is that good. I don't care. I mean, if you, I think I'd lean Book. I'm definitely taking Book over Jaylen Brown. I'd probably go Book here, but
I'll give you my reasoning why. I'll give you my reasoning why, because it's like thank you for addressing that it's not a hot take. Thank you for addressing
Shai is that good. Shai is that good.
But I will say this. The reason I'm going to take Shai, and you know what, you could say it's the fact that Devin Booker's game has definitely gotten way better since he first started in the league. But I feel like Devin Booker, the reason his game has elevated so much is a product of him playing beside Chris Paul. I feel like Shea in his second season got to play with Chris Paul, and we saw the jump in numbers Shea took because he was beside Chris Paul. And the second Chris Paul left, Shea took a dip in efficiency. Like his numbers looked better, but he wasn't a better player. And then it wasn't until like this season where he really tapped into his potential. I feel like if you gave Shea Chris Paul beside him in the backcourt, where you have Chris Paul like setting you up the same way he sets up Book, it's a different story. Like Shea becomes a different, like the Thunder are not only a playoff team, they're a top 2, top 3 seed team in the West. That's the difference I think that Chris Paul would make for that team. And that's why I say Shea, because I feel like D-Book, he really got that jump in his game where we considered him a first all-team NBA player and the Suns are contenders when he started playing beside Chris Paul. Now, I'm not saying Devin Booker is a bad player whatsoever. I think Devin Booker is a very high all-star. I don't think he's a superstar, but I think he's a very high-level star in this league. But I personally, as a player, I would take Shea. I think Shea has a deeper bag. I think efficiency-wise, Shea is up there with D-Book. And I think Shea does more on the defensive end than D-Book does. I think Shea definitely makes more of an impact on winning. I think Shea is more clutch than D-Book. If you were to give me a player and ask who would you rely on more, I would take Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And I don't think that's crazy to say. I really don't.
Yeah, it's not crazy to say. I mean, the one thing that is going to be like people viewing this might think is it hasn't been consistent for Shea. We haven't seen it for a full season or whatever with this level of play, with the 30-plus scoring. The one thing I'd say with Book is that since he's on a winning team, I don't know if his numbers would go up if he was playing on a team like the OKC Thunder, even though the Thunder are pretty solid. I just have to see Shea next to a co-star to see what his numbers would look like. That's why I'm not, I'm torn about it, but definitely not a hot take to have Shea over. Next up, DeMar DeRozan.
Shea.
I don't know, man. I mean, DeMar is the only issue because I know he's not good in the playoffs. I know he's not good in the playoffs, but DeMar DeRozan is one clutch man, and it's a different position when you're playing. I mean,
clutch for sure.
I think Shea is more of a point guard. I think he should be listed as a point guard because that's what he does. He's a playmaking point guard. But when you're comparing him to small forward, you have to compare the duties. DeMar is not supposed to be this offense initiator. So I don't know if you want to look at it from an all-rounded perspective. As a total basketball player, Shea is more complete. But at the same time, I think DeMar is more of a high-level scorer than Shea.
I take Shea for the exact reason you just said, because I'm looking at it from all around, like as a basketball player, who is the more complete basketball player? Who would you rather build your team around? Not considering age or anything, just their skill level, what level they're at right now. I would take Shea. But I do understand your point where it's like DeMar fits his role. Not only does he fit it, he excels at it. He does what he's told or what he is needed to do. But that's not the question here. The question is who's the better basketball player. So that's why I have to take Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
If I did have to build around someone, I'm taking Shea. So I guess that's the answer.
That's how I looked at it.
De'Aaron Fox.
Shea.
Okay, now
and I'll say Shea, and I'll tell you why Shea. Because De'Aaron Fox has been on that Kings team since 2017. You could say the same situation, if not worse, team around him than Shea Gilgeous, and he has not, like, in the box score, he looks good, sure, but if you watch those Kings games compared to watching a Thunder game, and I do watch a few Kings games here and there, because they're the easiest to illegally stream. It's kind of like, I'm not gonna say it's clear.
He didn't say that.
I mean, illegally on NBA League Pass, #1 streaming service. Listen, I'm taking Shea because Shea in less time than De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox has had much more time to tap into that Kings team than Shea has with the Thunder. Shea in less time with De'Aaron Fox has shown way more potential with the Thunder in terms of winning basketball. I don't see the Kings ever becoming a threat in the West with De'Aaron Fox as that #1 option. I can 110% see Shea take the Thunder to be once again a top four seed in the West and a team that you are dreading to play in the playoffs. And don't tell me, oh, it's a product of the Thunder and they built around him way better and all this stuff. If anything, on paper, the Kings have a better team. The Kings have a better team than the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yet we perform better than them. Yet we come through in the clutch better than them. Yet I would rather a game on the line, Martians come to Earth, death beam, whatever that quote is. And you're asking me, who do you want the ball in their hands in the last play? I'm giving it to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander 10 times out of 10 over De'Aaron Fox. I think it's more of an argument that D-Book is better than Shea Gilgeous than De'Aaron Fox is better than Shea Gilgeous. So for Z, even for you to question De'Aaron Fox more than Devin Booker, that's where I'm like, why? Like, why? So do you have De'Aaron Fox over Devin Booker? Because you were quicker to say Shea over D-Book than you were to say over D-Fox.
The reason I said that is because my Warriors just lost to the Kings the other night, and I watched De'Aaron Fox absolutely cook in the clutch. So, pardon me if my perspective is a little skewed. Nonetheless, the only reason I said that is literally Saney damn near took the words out of my mouth. They both are young and have been in the league for about the same time. So what Saney said, De'Aaron Fox has had a lot of time with the Kings, and my thing with the Kings is they're a dog water franchise. They're poverty. If you go there, expect to have at least 7 years of your career wasted. Ask Boogie Cousins. So I'm not banking on De'Aaron Fox over Shea, specifically because Shea's been cooking. And like Sandy said, I would take the Thunder making a top 4 seed and making some noise in the West specifically over the Kings. The reason I'm doing that is because SGA is going to be at the helm of that, and De'Aaron Fox is at the helm of whatever the hell is going on with him and Sabonis. But the Sacramento Kings just don't have any fear about them. De'Aaron Fox has been around so long. I'm just like, all right, well, I mean, he got his hair cut. Like, he's still fast, I guess. But that's about it. Like, Shea, I can see the potential in Shea. Like, from the moment, like, just watching his production increase, his numbers increase over the course of the last preseason.
I think we've already tapped into De'Aaron Fox's potential in terms of
Right,
like what he is as a player.
that was exactly what I was about to say. That was exactly what I was about to say. I think that De'Aaron Fox is like, unless he gets traded, this like, what more are we going to see? I don't. There's nothing more that I'm going to just be like, oh yeah, okay, now he's on the scene. No, from the moment that man touched down in Sacramento, the only thing that we've been talking about from De'Aaron Fox is how fast he is. We haven't been talking about wins because they ain't won a damn thing. They're the Sacramento Kings. So I'm gonna take Shea. I'll take Shea for sure.
I'm going Shea as well. Next up, Trae Young.
All right, now here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this from the most complete, unbiased standpoint I can make as a Thunder fan. I'm gonna try my hardest to be unbiased here when I make this take. I am, as a player, I want to say Shea, because Trae Young, especially this season and last season in the playoffs, and for a bit of a stretch last season in general. So I'm not doing this off of recency bias. I'm doing this off of the last year, even ever since that 2021 playoff run. He is not as good efficiency-wise as people make him out to be, or not as good as of a volume shooter as people make him out to be. I think obviously Trae Young has superstar talent. I think he can, or not superstar talent. I don't know if I'd ever label him as a superstar, to be honest. But he has high-level star talent. He's proved that, obviously, and the playoff run is there, and he led Atlanta by himself. I think Atlanta is obviously much more better built than the Thunder are right now. The team around him is better, but I'm not going to really take that away from Trae. The reason I want to say Shea is because I feel like, number one, Trae Young's size concerns me. I feel like Trae Young is a merchant off of pick and rolls where he just, gets the center to set a screen from Clint Capella, and then he just pops it. And he doesn't make those at a high percentage. That's my issue. With Shea, and if you guys have been watching Thunder games lately, you give that guy the ball in his hand, he will make a play for you. He will get to the. By the way, Shea averages the most drives per game in the NBA right now, and I believe he's completing them at like a very high clip right now, like something in like the 55, 56% range, maybe even 60. I didn't look too much into the percentages, but I mean, he's shooting over 50% in the season, so I'm 100% sure he's shooting over 50 in the paint. Not only that, he can shoot the ball. He can create for his teammates. Defensively, he is miles better ahead of Trae Young. And I think that's why I'm going to have to take Shea. As a basketball player, I can understand why you would say Trae Young, to be fair, but I think I'm taking Shea.
I agree. I can understand why you would take Trae, but for me, the same reason that Sandy pointed out, for me personally, it's a size matter. Pause. Because Trae is like, what is he, 5'11", 5'10", or less? I mean, I think he might be 6'1", actually, right? He's 6'1". But anyway, the point is that for Shea, I think I'm looking at it and I'm like, which player would I rather take? With Shea, he has a very deep bag. With Trae Young, to Sandy's point, the inefficiency is something that I laugh at, because when Trae got into the league, you remember everybody was like, this is the next Steph Curry. Who's the next Steph Curry now? Jordan Poole. Ain't that crazy? We ain't talking about Trae Young being next Steph Curry no more.
No.
We're not talking about that. Jordan Poole is the youngest player in Jordan Poole is the youngest player in Warriors history to reach 400 threes. Stop. Stop. Just stop. Anyway, moving forward.
Yo.
What?
The youngest, the young Steph Curry?
What?
Is that a thing? Are people calling Jordan Poole the next Steph Curry?
Yes, Warriors fans
Oh,
specifically.
I had
maybe
my
more.
genuinely
God.
never heard that phrase, that sentence.
I've
Ever
never
in my
heard
life.
it either.
So
For good reason.
anytime that y'all have seen a Jordan Poole highlight on Instagram, you mean to tell me that you haven't went to the comment section at all?
He is not
Never.
Steph Curry.
I read all the comments. I
I'm
have
not
never seen
saying
young
I'm
Steph.
not
I have
saying
never
that he's
seen young
Steph
Steph.
Curry. I'm saying that when can y'all listen to me? When Trae Young got into the league, was he not being looked at as the next
Yes,
Steph
yes.
Curry?
But Jordan Poole was not.
Right. But because of his inefficiency and his terrible numbers, and because of Jordan Poole literally being the second option on the Warriors and shooting 40-footers and half-court shots, you mean to tell me that he's not being looked at as the next Steph Curry? You mean to tell me that's crazy for y'all to imagine playing in the Warrior system as the next generation? What?
He
Y'all
thinks
got-
he's an
man, get out my face.
ISO lord. Doesn't run around screens like
Y'all-
Steph.
y'all
He
get on my
wants the
face.
ball in his
Their play
hand.
styles is completely
It's
different.
a
Just because you
complete-
shoot and
Oh
make
my
threes on the
God,
Warriors.
bro.
Also, that
You should
youngest.
know
Listen,
best.
by the way, that those youngest player to reach this milestone are such BS because some players will come in the league at 18, and guys like Steph Curry, who by the way are the same age as Westbrook, but he came in a draft class later. Like they'll stay an extra year or two in college. So I really don't like that. Like, oh, he was the youngest player to do it. Okay, we live in an era where players are coming into the league at a much younger age. Before, it was normal to stay a couple extra years in college. Jordan Poole, I guess, didn't because Steph Curry, I think he joined the Warriors when he was like 20, 21, and he also had all those ankle injuries. Like, that's a weird stat to bring up to compare on why Jordan Poole is going to be the
I
next Steph Curry.
don't really care. As a Warriors fan, I see this differently than y'all, and I'm just gonna agree to disagree.
But he doesn't
that's
play
just
like
what it
Steph
is.
at all.
Back to my point.
Wait,
I would like to take Curry.
GZ, real quick. Before, I'm just going to ask you one more question. I'm gonna ask you one more
Does
question.
he play like Stephen Curry?
One more question. No. Whatever. Buddy Hield was the fastest player to hit, I think it was 500 threes. Would you have called him the next Steph Curry?
If there was a player to hit the fastest threes?
No, Buddy Hield was the fastest player, the youngest player, or the fastest player to hit a certain amount of threes. I think it was 1,000 or something weird like that. Would you, or no? Yeah, it was 1,000. Is he the next Steph Curry?
No. Does he play for the Warriors? Is he going to be next in line to take Steph Curry's?
So if Buddy Hield played on the Warriors, so if Buddy Hield played on the Warriors, no. So if Buddy Hield played on the Warriors, if Buddy Hield played on the Warriors and he did that, is he the next Steph Curry? Answer the question.
I'm not answering a hypothetical right now. I just want to answer Shea versus Trae.
You already brought this up, so we have to finish.
Yes, I brought it up
Does
because
Jordan Poole play like Steph Curry?
If Jordan Poole in the playoffs was being compared to Steph Curry, that's what I said, and you can go back and look at the comment section and tell me if I'm wrong. Don't tell me if I'm wrong. Don't tell me that's not the question we're asking.
Are you saying that
answer
he is potentially
Answer
the next
this to
Steph
me.
Curry?
Has Jordan Poole been compared to Steph Curry in the last year?
No.
Since
People have compared him to Steph Curry simply because he's on the Warriors and he shoots.
Okay, let me say
do you compare him to Steph Curry?
Yes, obviously. Why wouldn't I compare him to Steph Curry?
Because he plays nothing like him.
Don't say obviously. Don't say obviously, bro.
Okay.
Jordan Poole is on ball. Jordan Clarkson and one mixtape.
Why?
Jamal Crawford. He is not Stephen Curry.
Just why?
Is Anthony Simons? Can you compare Anthony Simons to Damian Lillard?
That's much different. That's much different.
No, I'm just saying that the idea of a player playing on the same team as another player just immediately makes you the comparison to that player.
I just think it has to do
Jordan Poole is next in line to receive the keys to this franchise. And the person that he's going to receive those keys from is Steph Curry. Jordan Poole does not play like Steph Curry in the form of off ball and any of that stuff. However, when I'm watching Warriors games, certain play calls that they would have designed for Steph Curry, they now have designed for also Jordan Poole. Probably because the next generation of Warrior talent is going to run through Jordan Poole at the helm after he finishes developing into whatever he develops into. So far, when Jordan Poole has been hitting these 35-foot pull-ups and shooting these fadeaway threes off screens and shooting these half-court shots, 2 of them in the finals, that is comparing him to Steph Curry in that regard, in shooting 35-foot pull-ups and coming off of screens and shooting fadeaways and shooting half-court shots in late-game three-pointers. That's where I'm comparing them, shooting-wise, because it physically makes sense. I'm not the only one doing it. Warriors fans are doing it. Hell, Steve Kerr's doing it. Like, what are we doing right now? How
There's
are y'all not seeing it?
comparisons in
That's
the
all I
sense.
said. That's all I said.
No,
That's all
you
I
said
said was
he's
a
the next Steph
comparison.
No,
Curry.
you said he's the next
you
Steph
said he was the
Curry.
next Steph Curry. That's what I got upset about. I
Mhm.
see that Jordan
Oh,
Poole
God.
is an elite free throw shooter, similar to
Right.
Steph. I see that he's confident in pulling from wherever, similar to Steph. But I just think to call someone the next someone, they have to be identical, or else they're just a version of themselves with parts of that player's game. If you want to say
Okay.
Jordan Poole plays in a way that can be reminiscent of Steph Curry at times, I'm cool with that. But you said Jordan Poole is the next Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the best shooter of all time. Jordan Poole is not.
Oh my. So
That's what I wanted to
let me
clear
get
up.
this straight. When people are calling Victor Wembanyama the next highest draft prospect,
Yes,
and
because
comparing
he
when
wants to be a
people-
superstar.
No, I got a perfect example. When people were comparing Ben Simmons to LeBron James, specifically because of a Sports Illustrated cover edition, was that justifiable? Or
Yes.
how about earlier in the show?
Yes.
when
More
Hoop said that they're
justifiable
comparing
than
them-
No.
Poole to
It was
Curry.
100% justifiable
let
because
me-
Ben
so let
Simmons
me
played
get
like
this
a
straight. Let me
6'9"
get this
Magic
straight.
Johnson.
He played like
Let me get this
similar
straight.
to LeBron.
He Ben so
Yes,
Ben
he did.
Simmons.
Nothing near the
and-
level, but the play style. I'm talking about play
The
style.
play style was 100% LeBron
okay.
James.
You know what?
No, it was.
I-
it was.
It was 100%
Was it
LeBron
not?
James.
So-
Gee,
so
I
how-
just
has-
did a video
has
on
that-
Ben Simmons.
has
I
that-
looked into his.
has
I-
It has not materialized into anything. But calling
That's
someone
what
the
I-
next
yeah,
someone
right.
is supposed to be because they have a similar play style.
So Ben Simmons' play style that he had back then, apparently when he had a jump shot, gets into the league, completely doesn't have a jump shot anymore, and now
calling
he's
Stop
sitting
getting
there
compared
being
to LeBron
known
James.
as
Nobody has ever called him LeBron James since he's gotten in the league.
Right. He shouldn't have been compared from the start. I was preaching that from the moment that he walked into the league.
Yes, he should
Why
have.
are you comparing him to LeBron James?
Because his play
Well,
style.
obviously-
We're not comparing him saying
so
he's
his
going
play-
to be
so-
the next
so-
LeBron James.
so
His
we-
play style
no
is
one-
LeBron James.
There was
So
no
what I'm
one
hearing
like
is when
Ben
people were
Simmons.
comparing Ben Simmons to LeBron James, basically what I'm hearing is that set him up for failure. Because now he's playing like Ben Simmons.
There was no one else to compare him to coming out
His
the draft.
play style. His
So
play
now
style.
y'all are
was-
getting mad at me
there's-
for
No, because
so
Jordan
y'all are getting mad at
Poole-
me for comparing
because-
Jordan Poole to Steph Curry shooting wise.
No, you said he's
said
the next
you
Steph
said
Curry.
he's the next Steph
Out of
Curry.
your
That's what we're
mouth, you
trying
said
to.
the next
I
Steph
told
Curry.
you.
Okay. You know what? I'll rephrase my statement. I guess since y'all's booties are tickled, he's not the next Steph Curry. He plays a style of basketball when he's shooting threes. His 3-point decision making, maybe, since I have to actually break this thing down for y'all, is similar to Steph
Yes.
Curry. And on top of that, he is next in line to take the keys of the franchise. So the Warriors are looking at him like a little Steph Curry. Matter of fact, let's talk. I'm gonna pull a picture that I just saw earlier, pretty much as giving a reason as to why I just said that. But I'm taking Shea. I'm taking Shea.
Let's keep going. Okay, let's just keep going. I'm not gonna keep arguing this.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
gosh, the Warriors do not have the same aspirations for Poole than they did for Curry, but whatever.
Not even close.
Oh my God.
Paul George, Shea or Paul George?
Paul George.
PG.
Yeah, Paul George. Anthony Davis.
Like as a basketball player, or as like I'm gonna build a team around them, and we're considering like real life what Anthony Davis is in the real world.
As a basketball player at this
Like
second.
healthy Anthony Davis, like actually playing, obviously Anthony Davis. But if we're talking like real life situation, I'm taking Shea 10 times out of 10. Why would you ever want to take Anthony Davis over Shea Gilgeous-Alexander right now?
As a bad
Unless
a
you're,
bad
well, technically-
player.
unless you're guaranteed Anthony Davis for the whole season playing like the
That's
Anthony
true.
Davis. Bro, I
Player
wouldn't
for
take
player, I'm
I would
taking
take like
AD.
30 players over Anthony Davis
Yeah,
right now,
yeah.
like in terms of it's Shea, 100%. But player for player, as a player healthy, fully healthy, yeah, hey, okay, Anthony Davis.
Last one, John Morant.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a
That
good
is a
one.
real
I
good
think
one.
offensively, John Morant edges Clay by a little bit, but it's Clay's defensive ability. Shea. Sorry, I just have so much Klay Thompson hate in my head every time I look at Z.
Hey, the Warriors won with Jordan Poole last night with Steph Curry out. They
there
blew
you
up the
go.
Spurs by like
There you
40.
go.
Was Steph
Against the
Curry
Spurs.
out? Was
Against the
Steph Curry
Spurs.
out?
Against the Spurs.
No,
Against the
I'm
Spurs.
saying about Klay Thompson. Not Steph
You just
Curry.
said with Steph Curry out though. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, with
I know
with
what
Klay
you meant,
Thompson
but you
out.
said Steph Curry out.
Yeah.
Klay
Yeah.
Thompson out and they finally win a game, baby. No, I'm joking. I love Klay. The Grizzlies are much better built than the Thunder. Like they are built to be like a playoff team. The Thunder are close to getting to that spot. But I think player for player,
I'm
I
taking
take
Ja.
Shea. I
Don't
take Shea.
overthink.
I
I'm
take
taking
Shea.
Ja. I'm taking Ja.
I take
I'm taking
Shea.
Ja.
I think I
I'm
take
taking
Shea. I
Ja.
think
Stop.
defensively Shea is much better. I think Shea has a much better frame. I think Shea's bag is deeper. I think Shaw can finish at the rim. Even finishing, I look like Shea averages the most drives per game. Like he is not scared to get to the paint, and he does it at a very high efficiency. I don't see any reason, or not any reason why you want to take Shea. Obviously, if you take Ja, I can understand it. They are very close, but I don't think why you would say Ja so quick. I don't understand why there isn't any.
I don't
thought going
think.
into
I
it.
don't
It's
think.
more
I
so
don't think.
the playoff success I've seen. From
That's what
him.
I was saying.
hundred
That's what I was
percent,
saying. That's what I was saying.
100%. But I think if you put Shea on that Grizzlies team rather than Ja, where you have a team built like that is built for the playoffs. Like the Thunder aren't built for the playoffs. Like we're not trying to win.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies
But
have a
that's the
different
problem.
mindset.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
but exactly. But I'm talking player for player right now. I'm not talking team situations where it's
And
like
you know
go to
what
the
it
playoffs.
is? If
And the
we're-
Grizzlies
if
were
we're
like
doing-
20-3 without John Morant, by the way, and
Yeah,
they won a lot of
yeah.
games in the playoffs without John Morant. So if we're doing player for player, I'm taking Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. That's not crazy to say.
That's the issue. I just think, I mean, Shea is built like his frame, his already defensive IQ for the future. I think if Shea develops and keeps good numbers on a good team, he'll be better than Ja Morant. But if Ja was on a trash team, I think he'd be dropping 50 very often. He's, I think, a very explosive scorer. And while the playmaking IQ might not be as slowed down as it is Shea, and he wouldn't be a floor raiser like Shea is. I think he's such an explosive scorer for a point guard that I'd give him the edge right now. And if we're talking this in terms of player for player, not worrying about team success, like we're trying to judge players, Shea could be top 10 in the league. I
100%.
was shaky at first. If he keeps this up the whole season, and he's going to be all NBA. Next season with Chet's back and the Thunder, if they get some 3-and-D guys that are actually going to be ready to win as opposed to develop, Thunder he could be in an MVP race. So I watched him yesterday, Shea. I don't understand how he gets by people so easily, but it's like a tween, and he creates
Slithery Hall of Fame.
on
So
Marcus
tough.
Smart. Like just like one dribble, lay. Like I don't understand how he's that fast when he doesn't look fast, but he's just a separation lord.
Can I ask y'all a question about Marcus Smart?
Yeah.
Is he overrated now? To y'all, just a little bit.
No, because people thought Drew should win Drew was the best perimeter defender.
Okay,
he's
so
not overrated.
so to y'all, what's his
Intangibles
depoy?
matter. Intangibles matter.
Uh-huh. So his depoy, do y'all look at that like, and because this is my thing with him being the reigning defensive player of the year, like he be getting cooked by most point guards.
Well,
including
there's also a lot of good point guards in the league. I think he deserved the award. Other people just deserved
Because
it
of
more. I think he had a
right.
depoy caliber season. There were just other
yeah.
players who did it better. So
My thing is, I would have gave it to Drew. I think if Marcus got one last year, Drew got to get one in the next like 3 years. Please, like let's be realistic, NBA. If we're giving out to the guards, Drew Holiday, what he did to Marcus Smart in the playoffs, like, I mean, come on now. He deserves his credit. I feel like if Marcus Smart just won a depoy, Drew Holiday deserves one, like for sure. Do it for the Holiday family. The other brothers ain't doing much. Damn.
no, they're nice on the Hawks. I'll be
Aaron.
honest. Aaron and Justin.
Aaron and Justin.
That's the last player you had for Shea, right?
Yes.
I think that's wraps then.
That's all I got. I cannot, dude. We got to do a whole Jordan Poole show.
But anyway,
that comparison is nuts.
Crazy.
I'm
But
not-
we're running
I'm
short
not-
on time,
I'm
so
gonna text Nico.
I'm gonna end the show now. We're running a little short on time, but thank you for tuning in. I think this was episode 27, and we'll see you for episode 28.
27.
See, peace.